Hello everyone, welcome to the Pokebattler website. My name is Famous from FLWVideos, and in today's episode we're going to be talking about the top counters for Landorus in Pokemon Go. So because we have Shadow Pokemon added into the game, we decided to extend the list to the top 10. Now a couple of them on this list are going to have their normal form as well as the Shadow form, so we're going to briefly walk through them just for time's sake, so I'm very excited about this. Let's go ahead and jump into the number 1 spot. In the number 1 spot, we've got Shadow Weavile. Shadow Weavile is a monster. If you happen to have one, you definitely want to end up using it. So we're going to go with Ice Shard and Avalanche. We're seeing a little bit of a drop in performance if you have Snarl and Avalanche. All in all, though, if you do want to save TMs, it's still going to be effective. But odds are, if you've got a fully powered up Shadow Pokemon, one fast TM isn't going to kill you. Anyways, if we go ahead and check out the ratings, the damage is looking good. Definitely a Glass Cannon Pokemon, but hey, it's getting the damage out there. Bulk is looking pretty good, and consistency, honestly, not that bad. As far as its rankings are concerned at level 40, we're seeing that the only kind of sticking point is just that this Pokemon is just going to faint a lot. And the reason for that is because of some of those movesets. We've got Focus Blast. That's going to be double weak to it. So if you end up going up against a Landorus with Focus Blast, maybe you don't end up going with Weavile in that case because it's going to get absolutely tore up. Rock Slide's an issue too, but we do have some neutral situations to kind of look out. And if you're interested in short manning, I mean, it is so close to being able to do this with just one trainer in the absolutely most ideal situation. I would not be surprised if someone pulled it off, but you could definitely do it with two fairly comfortably, especially if you use a Shadow Weavile. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 2 position. Honestly, I think this Pokemon is going to be one that a lot of people are going to actually have access to, so we can kind of see it as like a pseudo number 1. But anyways, as far as the moveset is concerned, we want to go with Powder Snow, we want to go with Avalanche, and we're seeing a major drop off in the performance for the alternative moves, so don't do that. Definitely go with Powder Snow and Avalanche. We're seeing a 4-star on the damage, 3-star on the bulk, and a 1-star on the consistency, so that is definitely not good for Mamoswine. As far as its rankings are concerned, really the only issue is going to be related to the fact that it just kind of goes down a little bit quickly. And the biggest issue, of course, is going to be that Focus Blast, where you are going to be weak to that. But hey, look at this, a lot of neutral situations. So Mamoswine is definitely going to be a safe pick, but regardless of what you go with, so far we've seen that Focus Blast has kind of been the issue. So that's just kind of something to keep in mind. And it doesn't really go away until we get to Shadow Articuno, where we're not going to have an issue with that Focus Blast. But Shadow Articuno, if you have yourself one, man, am I jealous of that, because this Pokemon is great. We've got Frost Breath, Ice Beam, and then look at these alternative movesets. Got a lot of flexibility with it, so hopefully you have yourself one. We got a 4-star on the damage, 5-star on the bulk, and then a 1-star on the consistency. So the consistency, it really kind of shifts around from those other Pokemon. We are neutral to Focus Blast in this case, but we are going to be 2 times weak to Rock Slide and have a major resistance to Earth Power, and then another neutral situation. So the spread's kind of all over the place. So basically, if you do plan on using Shadow Articuno or just even regular Articuno, just look out for the Rock Slides. Let's go ahead and move into the next position. This is always exciting. Mewtwo is just such a beast because of its stats. You want to go with Psycho Cut and Ice Beam. The fact that it is in the number 4 position is just absolutely insane. But we're going to see a little bit of a drop-off in the performance if you just have Confusion instead. But then it's all downhill from there. So you definitely want to make sure you have Ice Beam if you plan on using your Mewtwo. But anyway, as far as the ratings are concerned, looking good on damage, good on bulk, and not so much on the consistency. Not too big of a deal, but unfortunately not as consistent. I'm really liking the overall rankings that we're kind of seeing here. I think that Mewtwo is kind of like one of those people are going to naturally think of because it isn't an ice type, for example. But Mewtwo's just such a beast. I mean, that Ice Beam is going to absolutely destroy that Landorus. So we've got some resistance versus the Focus Blast. And then guess what? We have a lot of neutral situations. So honestly, Mewtwo could be safe, especially if you have a secondary move unlocked and you're not using like a special move or something. Maybe go ahead and opt to use the Ice Beam if you don't have another team ready. Up next, we've got Weavile. So we already covered the Shadow Weavile in this case, so definitely going to be an interesting one. It does come into the 5th position. Still going to have like the same moveset, for example, but the stars are going to change a little bit. The bulk drops down a little bit because it just can't get the damage out quick enough because of the Shadow having like the extra attack damage. it can basically potentially get Landorus down quicker, therefore not take as much damage. So it's kind of interesting, but then a 1-star on the consistency, so not looking as good, but Weavile will still do okay. Into the number 6 position, we've got Jinx. So Jinx is an amazing Pokemon. I personally have a 100% IV one, so I might end up using it. I've got it like level 35 right now. So we got Frost Breath, we have Avalanche. We're seeing some decent performance out of Frost Breath and Ice Punch, so not too big of a drop, but definitely wanting to go with this. As far as its ratings are concerned, really the only issue is going to be centered around that bulk, but honestly, that's not going to be too big of a deal. So we're seeing that really showcases there as far as the fact that it is a glass cannon, and the only thing that you're going to have to look out for is a weakness to the Rock Slide. So who knows, Jinx could be a good alternative if you're going up against one with like a Focus Blast. Maybe go ahead and throw in a Jinx. That could end up working out well for you. Into the number 7 position, once again, another very common Pokemon. I think a lot of people are going to end up using something like a Glaceon with Frost Breath, Avalanche. We're seeing a similar performance on a couple of these movesets, so definitely an opportunity to save yourself some TMs. We got a 4-star on the damage, 2-star on the bulk, 2-star on the consistency, so unfortunately not that great. Once again, the issue with the Glass Cannon, but this time you're going to have a weakness to Rock Slide as well as Focus Blast. So maybe not opt to use Glaceon. If you have a Glaceon and really nothing else, by all means go for it. Just be kind of weary of these moves, especially those 2 moves. Up next, Shadow Porygon-Z. Wow, what a beast. To make it on this list, not be an Ice type is amazing. Of course, it is going to require Hidden Power, and that Hidden Power to be Ice typing. So there's like a lot of stuff going on with this. I did want to go ahead and showcase it on the screen, but there's got to be a lot of things going on for you to kind of have this matchup. So we're going to go ahead and move on to Articuno. So Articuno we already covered today, but we're going to see some decent damage, an amazing set of bulk, and then of course the consistency is unfortunately not going to be that great, but we already talked about that. It really has to do with the Rock Slide kind of situation. So if you want to go with Articuno, by all means use it, just not if you go up against the Rock Slide. So definitely looking good. And then finally, a little bit of a shout out to Lapras. Once Lapras got this shadow form to it, it all of a sudden became a little bit more viable. I mean, it's in the top 10 versus Landorus, so that's pretty impressive. We got Frost Breath, Blizzard. We are seeing a little bit of a drop in performance, not too crazy, but I would personally just say, hey, go for this right here if you can. 3-star on damage, 2-star on the bulk, 3-star on the consistency. And once again, we're seeing that this Pokemon just kind of faints a lot. And it really has to do with the overall typing, where it's going to be weak to 2 out of the 4 potential movesets of it. So honestly, I think it's a lot of fun. These shadow Pokemon kind of showing up really changes things up a little bit. Hopefully you did enjoy it. And if you want to check out some more counters beyond this top 10, make sure you head over to the Pokebattler website, click on Landorus. You can get a view of the top 30, and I will see you next time.